Okay, today we're gonna make some quick blueberry turnovers. These are super tasty and it's gonna have a nice glaze over the top of it. I'm gonna show you how to make the glaze. And then we're gonna cook them 3 ways. We're gonna deep fry them, we're gonna put them in the oven, and then I'm also gonna cook them in the air fryer just to give a comparison. Obviously putting them in an oven or an air fryer is gonna be more healthy, but we'll see what they taste like. Let's see what they look like. Okay, here's our final result. This is the air fried batch, deep fried batch, oven batch. They all look pretty good. Okay, you're gonna wanna get your oven preheated to 350 degrees. You're gonna need yourself a pot of oil. Now this is a little dirty looking because I already made a round of these today, but I'm going to step it up by making 3 different types. So put some canola oil in a pan. You probably want about 1 inch worth of canola oil. Okay, so I pre-made this glaze. The ingredients for this is 1 1/4 cups of confectioner's sugar or powdered sugar, and then a tablespoon of light corn syrup, 1 tablespoon of melted butter, and I use salted, and then 1 tablespoon of water. You could also use milk, but I chose water today. Also add 1 tablespoon of half and half, and I didn't have any half and half, so I took some heavy cream and some milk and mixed it. I did about 1/2 tablespoon of each and mixed it together and added it, and then 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla extract. And this stuff's magical, and we don't really like that confectioner sugar or the powdered sugar flavor. This has no powdered sugar flavor to it, and this is pretty magical. We use this on donuts sometimes, but this is nice and drippy, and then you can kind of drip it over your blueberry turnovers. Pretty tasty. Quiet on the set. Okay, now you're gonna need to make your blueberry pie filling. Now this makes way too much. In fact, I would probably cut this recipe in half I'm going to give you. I've already made a batch of 13 of these and I still have a ton of this left. This stuff is magical. You could also do this with strawberry, raspberry, but we found that the blueberry tastes the best. So you're gonna use a 21-ounce can of blueberry pie filling, 8-ounce block of cream cheese that is softened or sat at room temperature for a while, a teaspoon of vanilla, a tablespoon of sugar, and then you're gonna mix this together super thoroughly and it makes this nice, magical sauce that tastes wonderful. Okay, the next step is to get a pre-made pie crust, and we've let this sit at room temperature for a while so it's soft. And we're using a Pillsbury brand, but you can make your own pie crust as well, but we found this just to be a lot easier. So generously dust your work surface, and then you're gonna wanna gently roll this out, being careful not to tear the pie crust. And then generously dust the pie crust again because it's a little moist. And then we're gonna roll this out relatively thin with a rolling pin. And I actually like to put a little bit of flour on the rolling pin and dust it really well so it doesn't stick. And then just roll it out into a nice, relatively thin circle. And what you're looking for is to be able to see your work surface underneath. Once you can start to see your work surface, it probably is thin enough. So I'm using the top of a lid, probably from a peanut can, and this is about 4 inches. You can use pie cutters, you can use anything that you want to, but we found that these are big enough to make pretty good turnovers, but you can make these as large as you want. And with this one pie crust, we're able to get about 13 turnovers from this process. So lay it down close to the edge, press down, spin, and that'll kind of cut that out. And then you just want to go around all the edges by hand and just spin that, cutting that out. This one didn't cut really well. It'll peel off pretty easily. That's because I did not put enough pressure on there. So put even pressure, spin it, and it'll cut it out really nicely. Okay, once you get those cut out, you're just gonna peel them up and just set them off to the side and just kind of layer them until you're ready to put the pie filling in. So once you get that first batch cut out, just gather up all your dough and squish it together, make it into a little ball, and then we're gonna Make sure our surface is super floured. And then we're gonna roll this out again. Okay, cut out the rounds again. I only got 11 out of this crust, and it may be because the other ones were just a little bit thick, but that's okay. Before you start making the turnin over, you want to get yourself an egg and 1 tablespoon of water and mix it up really well. This will help to seal the edges. Okay, the next step is to get a little scoop of your filling. Now you don't want to use too much in here. That's probably about enough. But if you put too much in here, this is going to overflow and it won't seal very well. I'm probably putting about a tablespoon of this filling in each of these. Okay, the next thing you're gonna do is dip your finger in your egg water mixture and make a little smiley face on the bottom edge of this, because this is the side you're gonna fold over and make sticky. So fold it over, give it a little pinch, set it aside, and then I'm gonna show you what the next step is. But make sure that you put enough egg wash around the edge. Get this to seal really well, because sometimes they like to pop open. And a pro tip would be to put this filling up a little bit higher on the pie filling, so when you fold it over it doesn't squish out. So go ahead and get your oil heated up. I'm putting this on a medium heat because I'm going to heat this slowly, and you want to get this heated up to 350 degrees. Okay, the next step is to take your fork and crimp these edges to keep the pie filling in place, make them look nice as well. A little bit of filling came out on this side, so I'm just going to clean that off, and then I'm going to flip it over and I'm going to make some little crimpies on this side too to make it look pretty. Okay, also you want to set up a cooling rack, and I'm going to put a paper towel over the top of this, so after I cook the turnovers in the oil, I'm going to set it on the rack to cool off. Okay, I've got this up to 350, so I'm going to put in my turnovers. And these are going to cook for about 2 or 3 minutes, but you want to get them to the point where they're a little golden brown, and then you're going to pop them out. If you notice suddenly that it starts boiling violently, that's because you probably cooked it too long and your blueberry mixture is leaking out. And if any of these start to float, just kind of hold it down with a spatula to keep it under the oil. Midway through, you might want to just flip these over. These are cooking pretty rapidly, so flip them over and get the other side really good. But watch these closely because you don't want these to burn. That actually looks pretty good there, so I'm going to pull these. And these have only been cooking for a few minutes, but I've probably had the temperatures a little bit too high to start with. Okay, on a baking sheet, go ahead and spray it with a little olive oil. Put on your turnovers. Spray them with a little bit more olive oil. Okay, go ahead and put them in the oven. And again, I'm cooking these at 350, maybe 360 if you want. And you're gonna put these in for about 3 to 5 minutes and take a look at them and flip them if you need to. And you want these to come out nice and golden brown. So halfway through the cooking process, about 10 minutes so far of these oven ones, I decided to put a little egg wash on them to see if I can get them to brown up a little bit. You can see that I filled these puppies full too, because they're just squishing out too. Put them back in for a few more minutes. Okay, here is the oven batch. These didn't really brown up so well. They've probably been in for 15 to 20 minutes, but they're definitely done. Okay, I'm gonna set the air fryer to 10 minutes on 350 degrees. I'm gonna go ahead and get this preheated before I put in the turnovers. Okay, for giggles, I'm gonna dust these turnovers that I'm putting in the air fryer with a little bit of cornstarch. You see if I can get the crackly and bubbly edges. Okay, and then just dust both sides. Okay, once this is ready, give the base a little spray and then put in your turnovers. Give them another little spray. Put it in and flip it halfway. Okay, I've just checked on these after a couple of minutes to make sure they weren't super toasty, but they're looking pretty good so far. Okay, halfway, you can see that these suckers are too full, so they're blowing up. That's okay. We're gonna flip these over. Squishy, too full. Put them back in. We'll see what they look like. So this is after about 10 minutes. So for giggles, I'm gonna hit these with a little egg wash too. and cook them for another minute. See if I can get them to brown up. You can see that they browned up a little bit more. Again, I think I put too much filling in there, so they exploded. But that's okay, they're gonna be tasty anyway. Okay, the last step in production of this is to give your glaze a good mix and then start drizzling over the surface of these things. Put as much or as little as you want on there. The center brown batch is our deep fried batch. They actually turned out really nicely. This batch here is the air fried batch. And then over here to the other side is our oven batch. Okay, let's do a taste test. That's our plate full of turnovers made 3 different ways. They look pretty good. So I know that these deep fried ones are amazing. I've made them many times before, but I'm gonna try the oven baked ones first just to see what they taste like. They're definitely good, especially with that glaze on there. It doesn't have the crunch and the fatty flavor like the deep fried ones do, but they're pretty good. Let's try the air fried one. They're pretty good. Definitely better than the oven baked. If you're trying to be healthier, definitely do this air fried because these are pretty tasty. They're pretty good. Crunchy, a little flaky. Probably don't have to do the egg wash, but it was a nice addition. Using the avocado oil is probably enough. Let's try the deep fried one. Ooh, it's just so flaky and crunchy. They're so good, but definitely has an oily taste to it. I really like these deep fried ones. Actually, if we make these again, I think I'll make them this way, but these are pretty good too. Good. Bye-bye.
I mean, that's like dessert right there. That's delicious. That's delicious. It's freaking good. Oh, whoa. I actually like the flavor of the breading on this one more compared to this one. The first impression, that's really nice crust. But I have to say, the middle one, that's my favorite. Try it.
Say bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
I only got 11 out of this. Ow. Dang. So that one I ripped. Okay. Wonderful. Rip. Okay, you Donkey Kongs, I'm making a video, so slip your slop.